Hi guys, my name is Vince Gilcorn, and last night British Judo released their marketing campaign. Now, actually before I start, excuse the balloons. The balloons were up for my son's birthday. Let's get that out of the way to start off with. But what I want to do in this video is just talk about the campaign that's released and just highlight a couple of points that I think are really relevant to all judo clubs and potentially offer some value and some help. So first of all, I want to say I'm pleased that British Judo are doing something around marketing. I think it's really, really important. I think judo needs to be marketed. It needs to be marketed really well, and learning about it is really, really important because it will help your club grow. I will also add the caveat that I wasn't there on the actual meeting last night. I wanted to be, but I was working. So I've just been looking through the files, seeing what's been sent out, and I just wanted to pass some comments and basically give you some ideas and some directions around how to think about it, how to use it, if that's what you want to do. Now, you might think, well, how qualified am I to help with this? Well, since coming out of COVID, we've successfully grown our club using online and offline marketing to nearly 600 members. We're currently helping judo clubs at the moment grow their membership through Dojo Launchpad. One of the clubs has grown by nearly 100 members within 6 months, all through some of the marketing strategies and tools that we've taught. So I thought it was really, really important to talk about the idea around the marketing. Now, when it comes to marketing, there's 3 areas that we got to look at. So there's the market, there's the message, and then there's the media. And the least important part really is the media side of it. Now, the market is so important because that's who you're actually marketing to, who is going to buy your, so who's going to join your club. And most people think, well, we have children's classes, so your market would be parents, okay? Now, for an example, most parents that come to our club are aged between 24 and 44. That's generally the age. People who respond to our ads are generally women. So by starting to define your audience, by starting to understand your audience, it then helps you craft your message and what you want to tell them, and then how you what media you use can be variable. So it can be online, it can be offline, it could be referrals. There's lots of ways around it. So whenever you're doing marketing, the most important thing is to think about who you're speaking to, okay, and then what concerns might they have. And within their platform with what they've released, and I don't want to share loads of things, I just want to give some observations around it. Always we need to think about what's in it for them, okay? It's got to be really, really obvious, really, really clear on why on earth somebody would be interested in your judo classes, for example. And generally you're going to solve a pain. And it has to be pretty clear. Any ambiguity around your marketing, basically, if people are confused, they never say yes, or they just ignore. If something's too confusing, and I'm sure there's been times where you've been trying to maybe buy something or research something or click on something, you get a little bit of friction, you're not quite sure what is it, what am I supposed to be doing here. Generally, people will just then stop, okay? So when you're trying to market your judo club, think about what problems you've got. So there's no getting away from marketing. You have to test, because a lot of the time there's going to be variations in area. So for what British Judo are doing is actually really hard. To set up a marketing campaign that's going to go across the whole country is really, really hard, because you've got to test images, you've got to test copy, like the actual writing that goes behind it. There's actually a whole lot of hard work that goes into it, and there are definitely certain things that will click across every area, and you've got to think about what is the main concern. So generally a lot of people will be thinking about confidence, getting children active, getting people discipline, There's loads of core areas that judo really ticks boxes for children, and it's something that they're not going to get at school, but potentially something they're not going to get at a football club or anything like that either. So we've got to think about what are the benefits, like what are the things going to be, and once you understand the benefits, you then talk about the pain. So if we're looking at images, generally images of children within a judo club work really well, and when I'm talking about that, smiley faces, happy, generally all of our best ads come with happy faces, arm round the shoulder, kids having fun, looking like they're enjoying themselves. You also, as well, when you're thinking about marketing, you want to get someone who is essentially the best member possible. So they're they have some sort of understanding of what judo is before they come to you. So, for example, we wouldn't use, and I'm guessing these are stock images, best guess, this person here isn't wearing a judo suit and they've got their fists up. It implies that actually there might be some punching. If some kid signs up for a free trial at your judo club and they're expecting kicking and punching, they've not been told what judo is, because we've got to work on the assumption that no one knows about judo. There's only about a participation level of about 30,000. So we've got to work on the assumption that no one knows about judo. So there could be kicking and punching within judo. So if you've got somebody signing up with an image like this, potentially, they might think it's kicking and punching. Also, the judo suit isn't correct. It's a karate kit or some sort of martial arts. Our judo suit is an equipment. It's part of judo, and actually if you have parents turning up in really thin judo suits and not able to do it, if they're not able to keep control, actually then that's a safety concern. So images like this are really tricky. Okay, we want to try and stay away from it. Let's try and move along. The images here, I think my computer, like silly things like this, somebody's wearing a black belt. Well, are you saying that children, you don't know how old this young girl is, but we know in judo you can't get a black belt until you're 16. Judo is one of those strange martial arts where if somebody started at 5 years old, they've got 27 gradings to be able to go for their black belt. It's a long process. So stuff like this is basically not having a congruent message across the board. I'm just going to move a couple across here. Like, once again, there's punching in the image, so it's a really, really tricky one. Okay, if you've got punching in an image and people turn up and you're not kicking and punching, well, you're not able to build rapport. If you're imagining when you're doing any sort of online marketing or leaflets or offline marketing, that for someone to become a member, they've got to go through a stage of not knowing you, to knowing you a little bit, to then building trust and rapport, to then join your judo club. If you're setting out with an image of something simple like this, of punching, well, that's not, and then they turn up and it's not punching, well, you're almost setting yourself up to fail. Okay, so it's really important that when you're setting up your images, try and make them relevant. Now, obviously, within a national campaign, you cannot have personal pictures, you and your judo clubs that are of your judo club for everyone, but you could definitely swap these images out if they're editable and put your own ones in. And I would suggest pictures of your club, happy faces, smiling, really, really important. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff on this file, and within this, there is some, there's some useful information. I'm just looking through the slide deck from the presentation. So obviously there's things that I'm not going to know, I'm not going to be aware of, and I'm more than happy to have discussions around these things. But we need to work from a point of education. Okay, we've got to talk about it. Now, there's some really good things, like judo has a lot of high values, courage, respect, modesty, friendship. All these things are really good, and they're really good talking points, but we've got to be really clear on why it's important for people to be aware. Now, in all honesty, social media is good to have an online presence, but if you want to grow your judo club quickly, it's not the quickest way, it's not the most effective way, and it's not one of the ways that we start with. You know, you're always better off with referral marketing, getting the people in your club. If you've got 50 members and you get every single one of those to refer a friend that joins your club, you've just doubled your membership, okay? The bonus that you have with things like that is they've already got a relationship with you, they already trust you. So learning how to do referral marketing is really important too. But this is also useful. Now, when you're thinking about your audience, okay, and what you're saying to your audience, here we go. Judo is only one of the things you will learn at Judo. Well, it doesn't really mean anything. Nobody really understands that. If they don't know what Judo is, what else are they going to learn? We've got to be really clear. You know, is your child struggling with confidence? Question. You know, you've brought the question, and if a parent is struggling with their child and they've got confidence, they're more than likely going to look at what you've said and they're going to read on. Okay, Judo may be the least important thing your child learns at Judo. Well, it's really hard. Like, Judo may be the least important. Like, are you saying Judo is not important? Is it important? What's going to be important? So what you say around this is really important too. Your child needs Judo, not for the usual reasons. Well, if that's an opening line within your ad, you've got to really make sure that your text at that point is really clear in explaining what they will learn, okay? Then Judo is much more than just Judo. Like, what does it mean? This person hasn't even got a Judo suit on, okay? So it's a nice smiley face, yeah, great, but if they were in a Judo suit, much better. If they had a friend there enjoying themselves, much better. You've got to make sure that your messaging is really consistent, okay? Step into Judo, start to shape your future. Yeah, great. But how is that going to work? So the copy is really important. Now, these are the other options on the pictures, which, you know, you say, well, at least they look good, you know, pardon me, at least they look like they're wearing Judo suits, which is really important because now they're in. But do they look like they're having fun? Do they look like they're smiling, they're having a great time? If I've never done Judo before and I'm a parent, would I want my child, like, that could look quite violent. Would you want your child to be thrown to the floor? Now, the argument is, well, you want them to see what's happening, but that's not a first introduction to Judo, is it? You know, being thrown to the floor is not your first introduction. So thinking about that is really important. I've not seen any of the videos, by the way, so I can't comment on those. Once again, though, I think it's really important about the message. Who are you talking to? Who is your club? And remember, like, your club might not be for everybody. And what I mean by that is you might only have classes for up to 12-year-olds. So your adult marketing you won't need to market to adults for adult Judo classes. So it's got to be really on point with what you can do. Now, ready to take on a new challenge? Step onto the mat, embrace the power of Judo, push your limits and ignite your passion. Find out more, link. Well, the most important thing with getting, when you're running ads or copy or pushing something out, is actually your call to action. And what that means is, what you really want to do is get their email address, their name and their phone number, because you want to be able to contact them. If there's nothing on there, if they go off to a link into the ether, you know, so actually running things where you're able to collect their name is really important. Now, also, we would have to be really specific, like, find out more. You would have to be really clear. Click the link for more information, fill out your details. Want your kids to take on a new challenge, embrace you. Like, why would they want to do that? What's in it for them? And that's really key when it comes to marketing. What's in it for the other person? Why would they come? What are they going to solve from joining your Judo club? Okay. Embrace the power of Judo. Head down to your local Judo club and experience the thrill of this incredible martial art. You know, what are they going to gain from it? It's really important. What are they going to gain? Ready to unleash your superpower. Embrace Judo, discover stress. You know, it's really important to understand what's going to be in it for them and then collect their details, because what you don't want to do is basically add start paying for advertising and marketing and not have any way of collecting their details. Like brand awareness, like people think about brand awareness is so wishy-washy because it's generally what big companies spend because they have a huge advertising budget and they're able to put out lots of things that are front of mind, you know. But because we're a lot leaner, we're a lot smaller, we have to know if we have to spend £1, what do we get for that £1 back? So you're actually spending money. Brand awareness is not really a good form of marketing for us. What we want to do is have lots of call to action. So click on our website, fill in your details, someone will give you a call back. More and more you need to collect their details to be able to contact them at a later date. You don't want to just be putting information out and then not being able to collect any details from them, which is really, really important. So yeah, like I am really happy that there is a judo marketing campaign, all right? But what I would be is a little bit cautious of, like, what are we aiming to get from this? What's the goals? Who are we trying to get? How many members would we like to achieve? And any of this is better than doing nothing, honestly. You know, doing something is really, really important. Doing a little bit more online, doing a little bit more offline. And I think people forget the offline part as well. Flyers, things like that. And throughout our, especially on Dojo Launchpad, we try to help educate people on all the different ways to market, because one way, like, you could be on Facebook and for no apparent reason you get banned or you get logged out, and then you're no longer to access that form of advertising again. So you need to be able to advertise across multiple ways, and that's really, really important. And if you went from doing nothing to this, it's much better. But I think for me, there needs to be a real clear message of what you're doing to a clear audience. Like, who are they? Take some time. And if you don't know how to do it, look at your members now. You know, go up and speak to the parents that bring children. Say, you know, what's your name? How old are you? What do you feel that your child is getting from judo? And you'll find key things, whether it's confidence, whether it's self-control, they might have been bullied, you know, and all of these things create really useful information for you to be able to talk about it. Okay, don't allow, once you have this information, that's the information you then need to use to put onto your social media posts, onto your any advertising, any email things. But be really specific. Like, if you, for example, like, let's look at this picture. If you did have all of this on there without a QR code, you're missing a massive opportunity. When it comes to offline marketing, having a long URL is really, like, not a good idea, because people won't type it in. If you can scan a QR code when it comes to offline, people are more likely to take action. It should go to a really simple landing page where they can give you your name, where they can give their name, their email address and their phone number so you can contact them. If this was online though, you want a clickable link. If it's online, you don't want people to, because they can't scan it, because most of the time they'll be looking at it on their phone or a device, and then they're not going to be able to scan the code. So if it's offline, we use a QR code. If it's online, use a clickable link, and whether that's the image as a clickable link, if it's embedded into a web page, or, you know, it's added to there, but it's really, really important. You know, the same as this, like, don't give them lots of different ways to, like, if this is a flyer, like, it needs to have a QR code on there. And arguably you wouldn't put when your days and times are, because they might currently have something on a Monday which in 6 weeks time finishes, and they've disregarded your sessions because, oh, I can't make Monday work now. Well, they might not be able to make Monday work now, but actually once they come along to a class and they see how beneficial your classes are, they will then come along, you know, they'll make that. But judo may be the least important thing your child learns at judo. You have to be really, really important, like really, really on what is your messaging for that. And it might be for a couple of months you're working on confidence as that there, and then the next couple of months it's so for example in September generally a good line for children is talking about bully prevention, because a lot of parents worry about their children going to secondary school, so we would talk about that in there. Okay, or even any school, it might be they just start in school, they're worried about them getting into a bad group of friends, they're not looking forward to it. So brilliant, if you're looking at adults at the beginning of the year, a good health kick, getting children active off their screens, if they've had a long period of holiday over the winter, they don't go out, so these things are the messaging that we need to get in there. But make it a really simple call to action with a QR code for anything offline. It will make a huge difference to what you do. Like these pictures are much better. Look, these are really cool. Happy faces, people smiling. It makes it's much more impactful. If the parent could see the child on the picture looking similar to their child, it really, really helps, okay? Yeah, and I mean, I think this is a good start. I'm pleased they're doing something. But what I wanted to do from this is just give you some ideas around what you could add to it, what to think about. I would only start Facebook marketing if you know what you're doing, as in spending money on ads or Google ads, because you can throw away a lot of money. It is really effective most of the time if you know what you're doing. I would start within your own judo club. Start asking your members about, and you can be really tongue-in-cheek, and especially like your adult members, hey John, why don't you like me so much? And they were like, what do you mean? Of course we like, well, you haven't recommended anybody to judo and you've been coming for ages now and you absolutely love it. What's wrong? What's the problem here? You can be a little bit tongue-in-cheek. You can have little flyers, come along and try judo. Have incentives for people referring friends to your judo club. Now, I hope this was useful, and I really hope it didn't come across as any sort of bashing. It really isn't that. There isn't that intention behind it. It's just an opportunity to help people think about it. Now, I am going to try and make the next online Zoom. I am supposed to be teaching, but I'm going to try and make it to see if I've missed anything, if I've missed the point of anything on this. And if I find out and I'm absolutely wrong on this, I'll also come out and say, look, I got it wrong. This is what I think. I think it's great that British Judo is doing something. I think it's great that other clubs are being encouraged to advertise, to market, but have some clear systems. I've also got a video, a free video training, which you might find useful if you're looking at marketing, if you're looking at growing your judo club. It's called the W.A.V.E formula, and it's how, when you get a new member to your judo club, how do your coaches welcome them at the door? How do you ensure that they get the best session possible, and they're more than likely to then sign up to your judo club afterwards? So in the description here, I'll also add a link to that video. It's completely free training. You can share it to your team. But yeah, I hope it was useful. Please put your comments in the video as well below, and it'd be great to hear what you guys think.